the Alt Asset Allocation Podcast, exploring alternative investment opportunities available to the everyday investor. Here's your host, Ben Lakoff.
Hello and welcome to the Alt Asset Allocation Podcast. Today's interview is with Hadrien from Sismo. Web3 Identities, NFTs, and Privacy. These would be the key topics for today's interview. Web3 Identity has been all the rage lately. In this conversation, we talk about it in a lot more detail and dig into some of the ways that Sismo is innovating directly in this category. Also, this is part of the next series of podcasts, and I'm actually doing these live on Twitter Spaces. I do them from my personal account at Ben Lakoff, as well as the podcast account at Invest in Alts. Hope you can join one day and ask questions. They're actually super fun. For now, I'm cutting out the question and answer segment, but this is a good source of alpha, a good chance to interact with the guests that I have on the show and ask them the questions that come up during the podcast itself. Before we jump into the episode, I wanted to take a quick second to thank you for all the questions and feedback I've been getting. You guys really rock. If you've been getting some value from this podcast, please drop me a line or a review. These things really mean a lot. Hadrien of Sismo on Web3 Identities. Enjoy.
Hadrien, welcome to the Alt Asset Allocation Podcast. Excited to have you on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, doing great, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Web3, identity, NFTs, privacy. You guys hit a lot of the buzzwords, a lot of my interests in what you're doing with Sismo. So I'm very much looking forward to jumping into a lot more detail on this. But before, just to kick things off, let's hear a brief background of you. I know you've been in the space for a long time and how you came to be working on Sismo and identity.
Yeah, exciting topics, right? Exciting to speak about that here. So yeah, my name is Hadrien. I've been working on Ethereum since 2015. So yeah, always been interested in the blockchain technology that I turned out to be passionate about since Bitcoin days, but I didn't like the philosophy of Bitcoin that was all about libertarianism and stuff like that. And when Ethereum came out, the community was much more driven to have an impact and to try to change the world with entrepreneurs and stuff like that. So that's why I joined that. And so I always try to work on the topics that I thought was the most impactful. So the first things that I worked on was stablecoins. I was doing since 2016 a DeFi project that was close to what Maker was doing. So DeFi for stablecoins. And so because at the beginning, it's obvious that if you want a network like Ethereum to be useful, you need to have some financial stability and stuff like that. Anyway, and now I think that today, that's why I'm working on Sismo. I think that the hottest topic is now we're ready to go towards mainstream and to impact everyday's life with better login system, with better identity, with better control over the data that you share across the web, and with just better services that are not, that better.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, stable coins, DeFi, super early with those things. But I mean, what a foresight there that those things would be as big as they are today. But now, Web3 identity, and you were, full disclosure, I know you guys have been working on this long before, like everyone woke up to it. But Web3 identity, it's super hot right now. So let's just start what it is and why it's important.
Yeah, sure. Basically, it's pretty simple. It's something that you own. It's an identity that you own. And it can be an Ethereum address, a Bitcoin address, but all these things is what we call a Web3 identity, meaning that it's something that you own. And since you own it, you bring it with yourself when interacting with Web3 applications. So let's say Ethereum address, and that I used a service, let's say Aave, because I had a saving account there. That's great. I brought my address to this app. I interacted with the app, and then I can reuse this address somewhere else. So, okay, I have my saving account on this address on Aave. I used Aave to do this, but I can reuse this address I don't know, on DeFi or stuff like that. So I think this is the main thing about Web3 profile or Web3 identity or DID, is the fact that since you own it, it becomes an asset of yours. And so you bring it to the applications that you use. And that's very different from the centralized version of services like marketplaces, Web2 marketplaces, social networks, where to access their service, you need to create an account in their database. And it's to access the service that you create an account, whereas in Web3, it's more, I already have my account. What can I do with it? How can I improve it? It's my asset. So I think this is the most important thing about Web3 profiles. Identities.
Yeah, I'm curious, like working on this and being so passionate about Web3 identities. Do people, and I'm air quoting, but do people get it? Or is it still a little early? We're a bit in our own echo chamber where most of my colleagues and people I interact with understand the idea of this decentralized Web3 identity. But for the average person, what kind of gets them over the line to understand, hey, this thing is important?
Yeah, I think it's, as you said, nobody understands it. And that's why we were so much focused on DeFi before, because it was an insider game between us. It's like DeFi is all about people that really know what they are doing, and it's pretty for experts. But because it's hard to understand what it means, like ownership over your data, ownership over your identity, what is an identity, all these things are pretty much complicated. But with the rise of NFTs, I think everything changed, because it attracted mainstream participants that are just enjoying art or collect, or, like NFT brought the masses. And what's amazing with it is that it's really simple. Is I can own something, a piece of art, but the hidden feature is that it educates about Web3 when users are getting used to go on competitors, on competitive platforms such as OpenSea, Rarible, Foundation. All these platforms are competitors, right? But they see the same assets there. And I think that unconsciously that creates in today's users the sense of ownership. These are my NFTs. This is my data. This is my asset, and I bring it to the platform that just allows me to use it. And so I think it's really powerful, because this is the essence of Web3. And if people are now getting back to a Web2 digital art platform, and ask, hey, why my skin is trapped into your platform? Why can't I use it elsewhere? This is where we win, I think. And then they're going to open for other places. That's my feeling, and that's why I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, I think NFTs have been a bit of a Trojan horse in more ways than one in getting people with new ideals and viewpoints into the space, that's for sure. But there has been a lot of attempts at decentralized credentials or DIDs. Where have they fallen short, and why? Why is this not more prevalent? I mean, I know Microsoft has a DID, a service or product, but why have these fallen short, in your opinion?
Yeah, because it's at the same time super exciting, meaning it's, once you understand the concept of DID, decentralized ID, the fact that you own your identity, or once you understand cryptography, it becomes really obvious that it is a better system. But it's not because it's obvious that it's easy to implement. And so I think that the DID space, and generally cryptography and all these things, have been looking for something that actually gets adopted. And so long before Bitcoin, ideas about how to decentralize data, cash, all these things like this happened before Bitcoin, but Bitcoin was adopted, and that changed everything. And so it's the same with DIDs. Of course, DID is pretty simple. You can generate an account, like users can generate themselves an account, and if they have such an account, with cryptography, they can do stuff, credentials, all these things. But from an engineering point of view, it's not that hard to conceptualize that, but to implement it and to get traction around it, it's super, super hard. And I think that's why we are so excited at Sismo, is that now, thanks to NFT, we get not only NFTs, but like the general industry has some users, and users with their Web3 profiles through DeFi, through DAOs, through NFTs, they started to generate data about themselves in their Web3 profiles. And now that there is actual data and that there is actual usage, now comes the interesting part of, how can I build my reputation? How can I prove stuff? Now that I own this data, how can I leverage it in new ways that were not possible before in Web2? From this data, how can I extract value? Like the traditional model is, I put my data into a Web2 company and they extract value from it so that I don't pay. Basically, it's I'm the product. And in Web3, we reverse that. It's your data and you own it, and service help you to use it. So now it's more about how you extract this data. And so that's where credentials and all these things is really interesting. And I think it's a good timing for this kind of ideas. Of course, it will take some time to be used at scale, but I think it's a good timing. We have data on Web3 profiles. We realized that this data is valuable, and with decentralized credentials or with Sismo attestations, we are trying to let users leverage this data in a privacy-preserving manner. That's what we are doing at Sismo.
And I definitely want to get into Sismo in a lot more detail, because that last thing you said, in a privacy-preserving approach, is very, very important. So data, I get it. Public blockchains, public, transparent, completely transparent. This is very much the opposite of privacy preserving. So let's go into why. I mean, because I could take the flip side here and say, oh, I have my ENS domain, my .eth, or NFTs as a identity layer. Where did these fall short in using these as an identity layer?
Yeah, so again, I'm repeating again because it also gives me the ability to give you my definition of a Web3 identity. But for me, a Web3 identity is defined by the fact that you own the account. And okay, so I own the account, but where does it exist? Today, your account, your Web3 account, usually it's a Ethereum address or a Bitcoin address, or I don't know, Solana. The actual data is stored on a public blockchain. So everything can see the data that is stored on your account. Everything can see your history of this account. So this is great because this is transparent, this is auditable, and that makes it decentralized. This is thanks to that is decentralized, but it's public. And so since the goal of these accounts is to be multi-services, or that meaning that the goal of Web3 is that you don't have one account per service, siloed, but that you have one account for everything. That's great in theory, but today, as the data is public and as the Web3 accounts are public, if with the same account, if you use the same account as a DeFi account, so you use Aave, Uniswap, you do trading, you do farming, you do whatever you want, but you consider it as your Web3 banking account. And if you use the same account to do your NFT collections that are more social, or your DAO that is completely social, it's a bit like if you use Facebook while leaking your bank statements at the same time. So this is why today, unfortunately, while Web3 allows for an amazing interoperability between the apps, today people are kind of siloing themselves again, a bit like in the Web2 system, where you have one account per service. And that's because they don't want to link their financial data, which is on their DeFi account, with their social data that is on their, I don't know, DAO, NFT account. And even with their professional account, like I was working I got paid in Aave. So I have this professional account too that proves that I contributed to Aave. But I don't want to connect it to my saving account because I don't want to know my employers, to know what's my worth and stuff like that. So that's why today advanced users of Ethereum create one account per usage, whereas the goal of Web3 is really to have one identity that regroups all these accounts and that allows you to connect to a website, to an application and leverage all your data you have. And this is a bit what we'll get into that later, but Sismo allows you to have this, to have one Web3 identity that controls basically all your accounts and create no links between them. So nobody can see the links between all your accounts. Nobody can know that it's the same owner. And then you can choose when connecting to an app, or for this app, it's a financial app. I reveal my financial data from all my accounts and stuff like that. So, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I love it. This is how you originally pitched it to me long ago. And I mean, the thought of like unwillingly doxing yourself is a complete disaster if you don't want, you have all of your data since the beginning of time forever. So the ability for Sismo to connect these different accounts, selectively reveal that info to whatever service or provider you want to use, and have this aggregated identity is something super, super compelling for the Web3 space. So let's dive into it. Like, what is Sismo? Explain it like I'm five. What do you do to connect all of these different accounts in a privacy preserving manner?
Yeah, so Sismo is pretty simple. It allows you to generate proofs. It allows you to generate proofs from your Web3 accounts. So if I have a Web3 account that have, 10 Ether, with Sismo, I'm able to generate a proof that have more than 5 Ether or that have 10 Ether. It's an attestation protocol, meaning that with Sismo, you can generate proofs of things that you own. You own your account, so you can generate proof from them. And these proofs, let's say that I own 5 Ether, are then written on-chain as an attestation, as an NFT. Sismo has the first release that we have is a zero knowledge attestation protocol, meaning that when you generate the proof, like if you have an account that have 10 Ether and that you generate a proof that you have 5 Ether, this proof does not reveal anything about the source of data. So nobody will ever be able to know that, okay, you generate this proof of 5 Ether from this account, but they just know that you were able to do it. So whether you have 10, 20, 1,000 Ether, nobody will know. And so that's the core of Sismo. It allows you to leverage your data, to leverage your Web3 profiles, to generate privacy-preserving proofs. And so that's the technological part. And then these proofs are turned into well-usable attestations, so that from these proofs that are technical, applications that can integrate them easily can use these proofs as reputation system, as access control system. So very simply, there is a group chat for BAYC holders, like this is for NFT holders, and I'd like to join because I have a Bored Ape. I'm part of this community, but I have an issue. This Bored Ape is in my main wallet, where I have all my net worth. If I join this group chat by showing them this address, I'm doxing myself. That's a nightmare. And today there's no tool for me to tell them, hey guys, I have a Bored Ape, but that's all I want you to know. And so Sismo allows you just that. So it allows you from your main account on which you have everything to generate a zero knowledge proof of a Bored Ape ownership. And this proof is packaged in a way so that it's usable by Web2 apps, like a group chat, or by smart contracts, or stuff like that. And so, yeah.
Super cool. So, and just for my listeners to go back a bit, and hopefully we don't end up in definitional hell, but let's just explain zero knowledge proofs because of the core use of them in the way that you're doing this.
Yeah. Zero knowledge proof it's really a proof that doesn't reveal how you created it. So this is the abstract level. But if I can take a simple example, let's say that everybody knows that there is 3 cards. Like there is 3 cards. There is 2 red cards and 1 black card. I choose 1 card. I don't reveal it to you. So from these 3 cards that we know, 2 red, 1 black, I choose 1. And you don't know what card I have. And then I show you that in the 2 cards that I haven't chosen, there is the black one. What I reveal to you, I prove that I have a black card without revealing you which exact black card I have. And so this is the whole concept of it. It's like, okay, I have an account that has a Bored Ape, some Ether, some Aave, I don't know, that has a lot of history. But I just want to give you a proof of one very specific topic, like I am the owner of this NFT. A zero knowledge proof is the proof that reveal just that and not the account from which I created the proof. So not sure if it helps, but
Zero knowledge proofs are a bit mind-bendy. They do this with cryptography to prove to somebody that you have something without showing them that you have it. But it's kudos to you guys for like working with these, because every time I think about them, like I said, a little mind-bendy. But so pulling us out of like the technical definitions. So the way that I imagine this work, I have this identity, and you issue these proofs, these little badges, little NFT badges of owning a CryptoPunk or having a DeFi usage or having some other thing on chain, and all of this is aggregated into that Sismo identity. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, exactly. So we allow you again, like it's always the same system, and that's why I'm explaining this way, that from a Web3 account you are able to generate 1 fact. So let's say that now I have 2 accounts. So you want to speak a bit about the aggregation part. So now let's say that I have 2 accounts. One account has 2 Ether, the other one has 4 Ether. Basically, I will be with Sismo able to prove that I have accounts, and we don't know the numbers, that in cumulated have more than 5 Ether. So yeah, that's it. So there's also the aggregation part where you can, yeah.
So how are these proofs issued? They're little NFT badges, non-transferable NFTs. How does this work?
Yeah, so initially there are NFTs. And again, like, I said that why so many things about the ID haven't worked out is because they are trying to push a standard that is not used. NFT is a standard that is used. Everybody in Web3 and even in Web2 are starting to understand what is an NFT. So the information of the proof, let's say the fact that you have 5 Ether, we package it as an NFT, meaning that if you have the NFT, it has an address and a token ID. It's if we are being very precise, it's a ERC 1165. But what it means is that if you have this NFT, it means that you were able to generate the proof that you have 5 Ether. That means that you have an account somewhere that have at least 5 Ether. So that's how it works. But Sismo Vision is way, I think, in the sense that once you have this proof, the mathematical proof, of course, you can create an NFT that represents the data, like you have more than 5 Ether. But this proof, since it's a mathematical one and everybody can verify it, you can also send it directly to Web2 service. Let's say, I don't know, you are a group chat and you just want to get your access to people that have more than 5 Ether. One way of doing it is I just let people join if they prove me that they have the NFT badges I told you about. Or the chat app can also accept directly the mathematical proof that they have more than 5 Ether. So this doesn't need any transaction. And they just check it in their backend. and they verify that, oh, this proof is valid. And so then they let the user access their service. So that's why I'm talking about attestations. And then badges. Attestation is the data part, and badges, the NFT part, is the package, meaning that what matters is the information. You generate a proof, and it's a proof of a fact. And then this fact is packaged so that it's easy to integrate. So as NFT first.
Yeah.
Feel free to ask more questions because it might be a bit complex. So
No, it's definitely complex, but it's not an easy problem to solve. So there's always like a more complex way of doing this. So when I'm thinking, so this privacy preserving proof is issued as an ERC 1155. The thing that always gets me here is I view attestation as a bit of a mark in history, that it's something that happened that can't be taken away. But in the case of getting a proof that I own a CryptoPunk, so say I own this CryptoPunk, I get the ERC 1155 proof that I own it in my identity. How does this happen real time? What if I lose or sell that CryptoPunk? What happens to that proof that I've earned?
Yeah, so in the initial protocol of Sismo, the attestation protocol, the zero knowledge one, it's not a dynamic one, meaning that if you sell the punk, the attestation will still be valid. I mean, the attestation is just currently a snapshot of the fact. So you were able at some point to generate this attestation. That means that at some point you had a punk. But then you can create attestation of facts that are a bit more interesting, like let's say that you have had a punk for the past 3 months. And so this makes it harder to game the system. But the Sismo attestations at first are also static, meaning that they can be renewed, they should be renewed, and it's up to the applications actually to choose what they want. And when I told you the badge is just a package on top of a fact, like the attestation, actually what it is you had a punk at this exact date. And the badge is the NFT representation of it. And this is the application layer, meaning that in the badge, you say, okay, I consider that this badge is valid only for 10 days. Meaning that if the attestation is older than 10 days, you need to renew it. And so this is where you have the badge at the application layer. And the NFT, if you go past these 10 days, disappears. That's the difference between the attestation, that is a fact, a snapshot, something that is true and that will always be true. At this date, this person had 5 Ether. And the badge, that is an application usage of this attestation that, has an experience.
Gotcha. And that will be a key educational piece, I would imagine, with Sismo. It's, that this was a attestation at that period of time, as opposed to this permanent stamp of approval until the end of time, right?
Yeah, it's really like we are doing a system that allows you, again, to prove stuff about your identity, and then application will consume that. And the goal of Sismo is that the proofs that you generate are correct and privacy preserving, and then that the linked attestations are easy to use. And that's why we have these badges. But we can, on the long term, maybe do some other stuff than badges, Web2 packages, verifiable credentials, all these things. That's the core mission of Sismo. Let Web3 users generate proof from their data that doesn't dox them, and then have this proof very useful, very usable, so that all applications are using it for their reputation system, for the gating system, for controlling access.
I'm also curious. So how does a user validate that the receiving the proof is also owned by the issuer in that case?
Yeah. So now we can actually speak like we were very conceptual, but more concretely now in Sismo front end. What you do is that you will import your accounts, meaning that your source accounts, you import your 5 main accounts, and importing them is not uploading anything in any server. It's just generating a cryptographic stuff from each account that will allow you to prove stuff about yourself. So anyway, so you import your accounts, let's say 5 accounts. You generated this stuff that allows you then to prove data about your accounts. And yeah, so now you imported 5 accounts. You see that, I am able to create this badge. The badge is I own 1 CryptoPunk. Then I need to choose the destination. Okay, I want this badge to be sent on another address. That's the goal of it, because I don't want to create any link. Like, that's the goal of it. I have a CryptoPunk on a well-known address, and I want to create a badge, a proof of punk ownership on a new address, on a virgin one. So the way it works is that I will need to connect with this destination address and sign a message to prove that I own it, and then I can receive the badge. And this badge, again, will leak nothing about the source accounts. It will just be sent like that on the destination account.
I'm curious, just looking at your roadmap going forward, like, what is the biggest hurdle you see to rolling out Sismo to the masses?
To the masses, to the masses, I think that, of course, there are wallets. So again, I say Web3 identities. It's the data that you own from an account. And we are already seeing that a Web3 identity is multi-chain, meaning that from an Ethereum address, if I control an Ethereum address, an Ethereum account, I also control an AVAX account, I control an Arbitrum account, an Optimism account, Polygon account. So the world is multi-chain. Also, I told you an identity is way more than one account. It's a set of accounts, actually. And so the Web3 world is multi-chain, it's multi-addresses, and it's one identity that controls all these addresses on all these chains. And so I think that one of the blockers is wallets. Today, wallets are not done for this world. They are still mono-chain, mono-address, meaning that usually when you're on a wallet and you connect to a Web3 app, you're always connected in one chain on one address. And yeah, this is, once we grow more and more and wallets will grow with us, at some point we'll have a wallet that just has your identity, and underlying there will be some addresses, a lot of addresses, but addresses are just technical tools actually. This should never be shown to users, right? Addresses 0x, I don't know what, 0x122314 BC. This should never be shown to user. And so, yeah, once we have nice wallets that are multi-chain, that you can control multiple address and do all the cryptography that we do in Sismo frontend, if we can do it at the wallet layer, or then we really have a Web3 SSO, a competitor to Google Connect that is way, way, way better. You import one time all your accounts, and then you reuse that everywhere. And I don't know, you want to access your, a website to just prove, okay, you need what? Oh, you need to know that I'm not from this country. Okay, I send you a zero knowledge proof that I'm not from this country. Oh, I need to be older than 18. Okay, I show you this proof. And all of this is generated behind this tool. So yeah, not sure if it helps, if it answers the question, but yeah, I think we are starting to be multi-chain, and we are starting to understand that one address is one technical thing, and that an account is not just one address. An account is a set of addresses.
The question that leads me to think about is, what happens if you lose access? I mean, the joy of like being your own bank is also if you lose that private key to that main account, how would one go about restoring?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Of course, we can speak about the social recovery that is pretty that is in vogue, and that is the preferred solution to this problem. Is the fact that if we get some usage, some mainstream usage, Then we can set up some friends, trusted entities. So friends or companies also, your bank or I don't know what. You can set up an entity that you trust as a part of your recovery mechanism, meaning that if you set up 5 trusted entities and you say, if 4 of them ask to recover my account, then go. And so the process would be, okay, have 5 trusted entities. Once I lose my account, I go tell my four of the 5 trusted entities, hey, help me recover my account. I can recover it. So that does account recovery in a decentralized fashion. But all of these are, for now we're not there yet at all.
Well, the space as a whole is starting to think more and more about these things, and long gone are the super archaic, terrifying ways of doing it. And there'll be new ways, and these will have new attack vectors that we have to rethink through. So
Exactly.
it's never a dull moment in Web3 land, that's for sure. All right. Also, let's talk about roadmap, timeline. What does a launch look like for Sismo? Where are you? When can we expect to start playing around with it?
Yeah. I think we'll expect that within next months. We are finalizing it. So next few months, you'll be able to test it and to generate these badges. So you'll be able to generate proof of, asset ownership. Will go towards that first. Prove me that you have this NFT, or prove me that you have that amount of ERC20s. And what we want to do is help with gated communities regarding privacy, meaning that today, we have several use cases, but today you have a lot of gated communities that don't really respect their users' privacy, that keeps in their database all the addresses of their users. So this is not amazing. So we'll go after these kind of use cases. The simplest one that use NFT to gate their service or as a reputational tool. So but we'll try to little by little help the Web3 system to grow and do aggregation, privacy, and also transfer of data for them. So another use case that I've heard about it yesterday on Twitter. Let's say you have a crypto punk. It's worth a lot of money, right? And usually you should have it on your cold wallet, right? Because otherwise we've seen that you can get hacked, and even players in the advanced users are getting hacked. So how can you, now let's not even think about privacy, but how can I leverage the fact that I own a CryptoPunk without having to use the address that stores it? And Sismo can help with this too. So you have a cold wallet that is very well protected, that holds the hard asset, the CryptoPunk, and then you generate a zero knowledge or not zero knowledge proof of it to a hot wallet, and then you use this hot wallet to access a gated service. And that's what we will also enable with Sismo, meaning that we created this first attestation protocol, the zero knowledge one, but we also have a non-zero knowledge one. And yet, you just asked me before, what if we want some dynamic or dynamic attestation? If we remove the zero knowledge part, meaning that we can know how the proof was created, we can very well this time watch the accounts, and if the punk moved, then we remove your proof. Anyway, so a lot of use cases. We're excited. We designed a very nice protocol that should allow to have different attestation schemes, zero knowledge ones, complex ones, simple one, with different trade-offs regarding privacy, decentralization, and usability. So that's the goal of Sismo. You can leverage your data with Sismo. You have data on your Web3 accounts. You need to leverage your data. In Sismo, there will be an attestation scheme that will allow you to prove what you want in the way you want, privacy or not, decentralized or not. I don't know how, but we want to be this place, and the place for applications to create reputation or access control from Web3 accounts. So applications that are in the Web3 way, meaning that they expect their users to come with their identity. They don't expect users to create an account in their platform. They expect users to come with their identity. And instead of asking them, hey, reveal me everything about yourself so that I can create a reputation about you or give you access to my service, this application will just ask, hey, I just need you to prove me that you have this. Prove it to me. And this is the other part of Sismo, how to make it easy to create this kind of integrations.
Awesome. Great stuff. Hadrien, really appreciate it. Where can people find out more about you, Sismo? Where would you like to send my...
For now, I guess that it's Twitter. Just follow Sismo. I'm Hadrien, but most important thing will be at Sismo. We plan to release the documentation of this protocol, the zero knowledge one, very soon. So yeah, just follow there, and in the months you'll be able to really look into it. And yeah, we will really focus on attracting cool people that share this mission. And so feel free to hit me up if these topics, DID, privacy, Web3 are interesting to you.
We're definitely looking forward to the launch, and I'll link up all of these things in the show notes. Really appreciate it. Hadrien, have a great day.
There you go. First off, thank you very much for listening all the way through. I hope you got a lot of value out of that conversation. As always, you can find show notes, links, and more at altassetallocation.com. Please share this with anyone you think might be interested and derive any value from this conversation. And as always, you can reach out to me for any feedback or questions. Please give the video a like, or even better, subscribe on YouTube or your podcast player of choice. This really helps others find the podcast or the video as well. Thanks a lot. Hope everybody has a fantastic day, and stay safe out there and invest wisely. Cheers. 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 Cheers.